This video is brought to you by Masterworks.
We live in a time of profound skepticism. I mean, people don't believe in basic things anymore, like free and fair elections, safe vaccines, birds. But one thing everyone seems to believe in these days, here's a hint. They're gray, gooey, and probably down to bone. That's right, aliens. We've reached peak extraterrestrial hype. 65% of Americans say they believe in intelligent life on other planets. Senator Chuck Schumer just introduced a wild piece of legislation that says the US government or private contractors might secretly be holding on to UFO materials and biological evidence of living or deceased non-human intelligence. Meanwhile, the US House of Representatives is also investigating UFOs, and one member of the committee says humanity can't handle the stuff they're turning up, to which I say, give it to me straight, guy. But it's not just politicians, eccentric young people, and X-Files characters who believe aliens are somewhere out there, coveting our earthly confectionaries. Take Enrico Fermi, who worked on the Manhattan Project, which you might have heard of.
Chances are near zero.
Fermi believed that alien existence should be extremely likely because the universe is so big and old that there's no way we're the only intelligent life forms. So, to Fermi, the bigger questions were, where is everybody? Why haven't we met our interstellar neighbors? And I get it. The Milky Way has got to offer more than this, right?
Where is this? No spicy. No.
So, to Fermi, the bigger question was, will we ever actually get to meet our intergalactic neighbors? But we're not a science channel. And despite my best efforts, I've never been abducted by a charismatic extraterrestrial life form, so we're not gonna try to prove or disprove the existence of aliens today. Although, look guys, they totally exist. Just trust me. Instead, we want to ask, what does the idea of alien life and the great beyond do for our cultural imagination? What do narratives about aliens tell us about our society? And could humans handle definitive proof that aliens exist? Let's find out in this video, aliens. Could we handle it?
Hey guys, it's me, not Helen. I'm sorry for interrupting her. I know that's not a good look on my behalf, but I wanted to talk to you because money freaks me out. I think about it a lot, and the economy seems bad. I don't really understand stocks and bonds and things of that nature. And I just wonder, how is anyone making money? But recently I've learned that even when the economy is nosediving, it's not the case that every market is a bad investment. In fact, there's some markets that are seen as stores of wealth during times like these, like contemporary art, whose prices have passed even pre-pandemic levels. Now, Bank of America believes high net worth investors will continue to buy art despite larger economic concerns. And Morgan Stanley says the value of investment grade art is less affected by market conditions. And that's why today's sponsor, Masterworks, has made the art market available to everyday investors. No $1 million price tag or art degree needed. In fact, in each of their 14 exits to date, Masterworks delivered a positive net return to their users. In other words, they made them money. Of course, as with any investment, past performance is not an automatic guarantee of future performance, but Masterworks makes the process really simple. They securitize paintings with the SEC, allowing people like you and I to invest in shares of a painting. That documentation is all on Masterworks' page on the SEC's database, and we link it below. Now, once they sell a painting again, you get your share of the potential profit. And so far, Masterworks has handed back the net proceeds from over $45 million in sales from legends like Monet and Banksy. Over 750,000 people have joined the platform to date. But our subscribers can get priority access by clicking the link in the description. So if you've been wanting to invest and you want to try something new, how about art? You can do it with Masterworks. Again, there's a link in the description, but now let's get back to Helen.
While it feels like alien fever's hotter than ever, humans have been spotting mysterious objects in the sky for centuries. From ships flying over Ireland in 740 AD to a black triangular object floating over Nuremberg in 1561. All in all, computer scientist and ufologist Jacques Vallée identified over 60 accounts of unusual aerial events pre-19th century. And over the years, plenty of folks not lucky enough to witness any celestial shenanigans were still alien curious. As author Brenda Densler explained, since the Reformation depopulated the saint-filled cosmos of the Middle Ages, followed by the elimination of God from the cosmos by rationally enlightened scientific minds, a newly orphaned humanity has been asking, are we then alone? Coincidentally, that's also what I ask myself at 4 a.m. when nobody's responding to my Sam Raimi Spider-Man trilogy memes. But with the explosion of America's mass media in the mid-19th century, the debate about aliens entered the public sphere in earnest. The final years of that millennium were peppered with both genuine and fabricated claims of UFO sightings. But the modern UFO movement is typically dated to 1947, when pilot Kenneth Arnold was flying over Washington state and reported seeing 9 mysterious, shiny objects in the air. Over the following decades, America experienced numerous waves of UFO sightings. This was obviously connected to the Cold War, and with it, the space race. It was a time of rampant paranoia, conformity, and containment, and people were able to project their fears and anxieties onto little green men in the sky. As anthropologist John W. Traffigan writes, this created a situation in which extraterrestrial aliens could be employed to represent fears about communism and atomic annihilation, as well as to convey the possibility that we might be saved from our stupidity by an alien civilization. Which, okay, rude. But see, many people who claim to have had contact with aliens did come out of the experience with salient critiques of 1950s America. Aliens reportedly condemned everything from the nuclear arms race to suburbia, because apparently Martians can't appreciate the magic of the Cheesecake Factory and a 2-car garage. These waves of alien sightings raised governmental eyebrows. In 1953, a secret scientific committee advised the CIA to undertake a public education campaign to debunk UFOs in order to minimize public hysteria. Afterwards, historian Gerald Haynes writes, CIA officials wanted knowledge of any agency interest in the subject of flying saucers carefully restricted. But UFOs stayed alive in the public imagination, and stories of alien contact were usually positive, or at least harmless. These narratives were, according to historian Curtis Peebles, a mirror to the events of post-war America, reflecting, among other things, optimism about space. But, as political theorist Jody Dean notes, the explosion of the Challenger spacecraft in 1986 marked the end of public fascination with and interest in the American space program. Basically, we weren't too stoked to watch more people get blown up on our tax dollars. It also helped usher in a new era, the age of alien abduction. Amidst the nihilism and conspiratorial paranoia of the 80s and 90s, aliens were reimagined as sinister beings that were way too eager to do weird sex stuff with you. Dean argues that by the 90s, abductees replaced astronauts in the media, as space became a site of danger rather than wonder. While ufologists had previously tried to use rigorous science to legitimize the study of extraterrestrial life, their failure to gain acceptance, as well as the rise of abduction narratives, shifted the UFO phenomena from a scientific zone into a religious and metaphysical one. Unlike the social commentary-filled alien encounter of the 50s, these narratives were about the dark, disturbing personal testimonial. UFO mania blazed into the new millennium, and basically hasn't let up since, infecting the entire globe, becoming what journalist David Clark calls one of America's most successful exports. Of course, a big reason these stories are so enticing is their unprovability.
It came on down and hovered about a foot and a half or 2 feet off of the ground.
Even though aliens are 1000% real, and are you really egotistical enough to think you're the only intelligent life form in the galaxy? I mean, come on, get a grip. But still, there's reason to be skeptical of folks who claim to have spotted a UFO or met an alien, specifically because these personal accounts overwhelmingly parrot the way aliens and UFOs are portrayed in movies and the mass media. Here's an example. The term flying saucer, as Clark documents, was actually first used after our pilot pal Kenneth Arnold famously described the mysterious objects in the sky. He noted that a crescent-shaped flying disc moved through the air like saucers skipped over water. A journalist apparently screwed up and wrote that the object was shaped like a flying saucer, a mistake Arnold was still salty about on his deathbed. Despite the fact that this was a total whoopsie, UFO expert Martin S. Kottmeyer estimates that around 82% of subsequent alien abduction stories involved a saucer-shaped vehicle. That is to say, people literally saw what a sloppy journalist invented. Further reason to be dubious came in the late 70s, when, as Clark notes, it became common to hear about sightings of black triangular objects in the sky, which just so happened to look a heck of a lot like this. Yep, the Imperial Star Destroyer. A bit convenient, if you will. The same phenomenon seems to occur with alien abduction accounts. The event that first kicked things off apparently occurred in 1961, when couple Betty and Barney Hill claimed to mysteriously black out while on a long drive. A few years later, they underwent hypnosis, a largely disproven method for memory recovery, during which Barney described meeting aliens with wraparound eyes. Kottmeyer thought that sounded familiar, and realized aliens with the exact same features Barney described under hypnosis had appeared on the popular TV program The Outer Limits just 2 weeks earlier. So we're left with two options. Either Hollywood is absurdly accurate in its depictions of aliens, or humans are intensely suggestible. As Clark surmises, many aspects of alien mythology are products of our imagination and the science fiction that has been clogging our brains for more than a century. But perhaps the best indication that at least the bulk of UFO sightings are dubious came from astronomer Alan Hendry. He started a 2-year study in 1976 in which he analyzed 1,300 UFO sightings. He was able to find explanations for 90% of those cases. A popular one was people confusing Venus for a UFO. Rookie mistake. In a similar vein, many scholars attribute a lot of alien abduction stories to sleep paralysis. Now, look, this obviously doesn't mean aliens aren't real. Again, they're obviously real, and no, I don't have any proof, but the evidence does suggest that you have good reason to be suspicious when your Uncle Jimmy claims his sperm was harvested by a little gray dude named Zorkon. So we now know that a good chunk of alien and UFO encounters are heavily shaped by mass media and existing cultural anxieties. Still, the near ubiquity and endurance of alien mythology suggests it offers us something valuable. So what is that something? Well, to answer that, it's worth considering what kinds of cultural moments are most conducive to interest in the paranormal. Times of cultural revolution, instability, or profound social change. For instance, as religious scholar Diana Polsaka notes, after the USSR collapsed, paranormal interest swept Eastern Europe as healers and psychics saturated the media. And this is just one of thousands of giant cultural shifts centered on supernatural mythology that anthropologists have identified over the years. This is why A New Millennium, and all the anxiety that landmark induces, has twice proven right for reported alien encounters. But why does the paranormal, and specifically the alien, appeal to us during times of upheaval and change? Well, according to historian James Gilbert, phenomena like extraterrestrial life offer a new imaginative framework, or a new language for making sense of humanity and our place in the universe. This seems reasonable. Times of radical change demand radically different paradigms for understanding the world and what the heck we're doing in it. In this way, according to Traffigan, our stories about aliens reflect ourselves back to ourselves. He writes, "The faces of imagined extraterrestrial others are mirrors of human minds that confess our inner ambitions and beliefs about the universe and about ourselves." For Dean, writing back in 1998, alien stories specifically were speaking to the anxieties of the digital age, where new technology has effectively collapsed long-held human boundaries of time and space. She quotes scholar Langdon Winner, who writes, "Human beings and human societies have traditionally found their identities within spatial and temporal limits. They have lived, acted, and found meaning in a particular place at a particular time. In our networked world, where the local bleeds into the global, the real into the unreal," Winner argues, "we're effectively in an alien reality where we feel uneasy and paranoid, where we lack power and the world lacks tangible boundaries." In Violating Rules and Borders, the idea of alien encounters embodies our sense of instability. Dean notes that alien abduction narrates the predominant experience of the familiarity of strangeness in the techno-global information age. Connected as they are with fantasies about the future, with time traveling and border crossing, aliens link into the hopes and fears inscribed in technologies. The alien, more so than, say, Mr. Beast or Barbie, is the perfect avatar of our strange, turbulent times. Creatures from outer space, then, become a site for us to project our feelings of discomfort. The projection may be why we commonly assume that aliens, if given the chance, would want to establish dominance over us, the way groups of humans historically do over one another. That is to say, we can't imagine aliens that don't behave like us at our worst. At the same time, as Dean explains, the alien marks the radical strangeness and unknowability increasingly part of contemporary life. It serves as the ubiquitous reminder of uncertainty, doubt, suspicion, of the fugitivity of truth. But aliens offer more than metaphor. There's a quasi-religious element to the figure of the alien and the UFO in popular imagination. Religious studies scholar Jeffrey Kripal, working with author Whiteley Strieber, notes that the modern experience of the alien coming down from the sky can be compared to the ancient experience of the god descending from the heavens. In an increasingly secular age, aliens become a bridge, a way of reconciling the contemporary battle between science and religion. If religion once offered us the promise that mankind shares the company of an all-powerful, benevolent creator, the ascendance of science threatened us with the alternative, that we were totally on our own in a cold, unforgiving universe. Alien mythology, according to Densler, occupies a sort of middle ground between the barrenness of science and the mysticism of religion. In this way, the alien mythos, as Clark puts it, fulfills a deep emotional need to know that we are not alone in the universe. But before you start holding tentacles with a Neptunian and singing Kumbaya, it's worth noting, if aliens were proven to exist, the fallout would be massive. It helps here to refer to an idea famously posed by Sigmund Freud, who low-key cribbed the work of 19th century German physiologist Émile Dubois-Reymond. Reymond had outlined what he called two great outrages upon humanity's naive self-love, i.e., two major hits to mankind's collective ballsack. The first was when Copernicus discovered that the universe, in fact, did not revolve around the Earth, putting an end to geocentrism and thus our perception that we were the center of everything. The second outrage came from Charles Darwin and co., who theorized that humans were descended from the animal world rather than being our own special thing. Freud posited that his theory of the unconscious was the third outrage, because, he argued, we're not masters of our own minds, we hardly even know what's going on in there. Each of these three ruptures came with huge, sometimes painful cultural change and backlash. They also forever altered how we perceive ourselves and the world around us. If we were to learn that intelligent life is out there, this could qualify as a fourth outrage, and it's hard to imagine what sorts of reverberations could follow. Confirmation of extraterrestrial life would have far-reaching impacts on everything from technology to politics to culture, and it's impossible to know if those impacts would be positive or negative. Philosopher Tim Mulgan argues as much in an article for Aeon, focusing on the fallout for religion. He notes that most faiths conceive of the cosmic uniqueness of humans, a conceit that intelligent life kicking it in the great beyond would definitely shatter. Mulgan proposes a way to reconcile such a conflict in the event of discovering alien life via what he terms an anthropocentric purposivism. For him, this means that the universe has a purpose and that humans are irrelevant to that purpose. If there is a God, then God cares about what matters, but we do not matter to God. He admits that this paints a very unsettling picture of our place in the cosmos. Yeah, you're telling me. In other words, aliens' existence would be more than a slice of humble pie for the fragile human ego, especially if you, really love the Bible. Anyway, what do you think? Does alien mythology offer us room to explore what it means to be human? Would knowing that aliens exist make our existence feel a little less lonely? Or would it just destroy what's left of our delicate egos? Let us know what you think in the comments, especially if you're an alien. I know at least one of you has to be an alien. Huge thanks to our patrons for all your support. You are vital to keeping this channel running. And thanks so much to the rest of you for checking out our channel, for liking our videos, for subscribing, for only ever leaving nice, thoughtful, and productive comments. We really do appreciate you. Catch you later.